All right, where are we as of right now? Now we're going to the NBA playoffs. So at the 8th seed, I do have right now the Miami Heat. And it seems like this is going to be 3 years in a row that this team was probably going to be around that play-in tournament to finish within the 8th seed or so. Pat Riley's been overrated for the past couple of seasons. Their team's been fine, but they're in a direction toward now they're putting Terry Rozier as your starting point guard. And I thought there was plenty of point guards they should have gone to be more suitable contenders. They should have gone for Chris Paul for anything like that. In the past for James Harden, etc., etc. That hasn't been the case, but Terry Rozier should be a sixth man for a team. He should never be a starting point guard, even being at 30 years of age. He hasn't really proven himself as a winner, quote unquote. Now, even though he was on the Boston Celtics with Isaiah Thomas in the crew, or even Jason Tatum, when they made to the conference finals and deep playoff runs, but he was young, like 24 or so. I'm not the biggest fan of that. You have Tyler Hero, which at 24 years of age, I've seen a good emergence when it comes to him. Last season, he was at around 21 points a game and shooting under 40% from three. So I think within this year, he'll kind of cover up around 23 points a game or so. There's always been trade rumors when it comes to Duncan Robinson. I think this may be his last season within the Miami Heat. I think within the Miami Heat, with Jimmy Butler's last year on his contract, that this team may blow it up next season. I think there could potentially be some new moves. Jimmy Butler could walk in free agency. They're going to keep Bam Adebayo as a cornerstone, so they're going to keep him within that. But this team doesn't have depth. They don't have centers. They don't have bigs. Bam Adebayo needs to play the four, which I would love for him to have. And if you at the five, you can get someone like a Jonas Valanciunas or like a Brook Lopez. I think that'd be more ideal to stretch the floor, like a Brook Lopez. But I know Milwaukee will probably have his last year with him. At the four, I think they may put Nikola Jovic, but they have too many young. I don't like those filler players as Rozier and Jovic potentially starting. This team is not as serious, so whatever. Number 7, I'm going to go over here to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, Cleveland was able to retain Donovan Mitchell at 4 years, $185 million. You had injuries as of last season, with Jarrett Allen, and then you had Evan Mobley playing the 4. They don't have a backup center as of right now. They brought back Tristan Thompson once again, but I think this is probably Tristan Thompson's last season before he retires. I don't like the depth in this team. They don't have much depth at their 5-4-3. At their 2, they still have Donovan Mitchell playing that small ball combo with Karis LeVert still under the contract, and Darius Garland at the 1, which there was potential trade rumors. This team is not going to be as serious as it was. They had much potential a year or two ago, but unless they don't make any moves, I see this team being around, hovering the bottom of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Definitely a first-round exit whatsoever. All right, number 6, we're going to go over to the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks last season, they brought in Damian Lillard, and they got bounced in the first round due to Giannis being hurt and some other players, and losing to the Indiana Pacers within that series at a 3-6 matchup. Now, I fully expect the Bucks to hover around the bottom of the Eastern Conference and the playoffs, so like around a 6 seed or so. And as we're looking within this team of the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be 29, hovering around 30. Damian Lillard is around 33 years of age, going to hover around 34. And I truly believe that if the Bucks don't win a championship or make a deep playoff run, this will be the last season for Damian Lillard on this team. I believe this will be the last year also for Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez, who are both finishing their contract after this season. Bobby Portis, same thing with them, but I believe even though his contract's going to expire, they're still extend him. But you have a lot of players on one-year deals. This team could really blow up, even if they finish losing in the first round, second round, or not even make the playoffs. They fully expect the Milwaukee Bucks to pretty much blow it up, and don't be surprised if Giannis Antetokounmpo, entering his 30th year in age, is going to go ahead and request a trade. They don't have much depth. Doc Rivers has not been proven as a true head coach to overcome adversity. I fully expect the Milwaukee Bucks to be bounced in the first round. Now, depending who they match up with, if they get a lower team, but right now they should be a first or second round exit. I don't see anything crazy about them, which is tough to say, but it is what it is. All right. Number 5, I'm going to go over and switch over to the Indiana Pacers. So last season they made a huge playoff run to the Eastern Conference Finals, even though they dealt with teams with injuries, a la the Milwaukee Bucks and as well as the New York Knicks, but they were to show some great signs as a team. They were able to bring in Pascal Siakam last season, that trade deadline, which made a huge jump for their team, who had championship experience, who could play that four for them. Tyrese Halliburton, who was great as an all-star last season. Let's see how he can take another jump and has playoff experience. But overall, the team is pretty much the same foundation as they are. No other kind of big moves on that side, but I expect them to be around a fifth seed or so. Either way, I pretty much see a first or second round exit. I don't see anything crazy, but they still have a good foundational team. You still got to respect them. I will though. I think they'll be fine in the regular season. All right, at number 4. Now, this is, we're going to get a little more deeper into this, but I think a lot of teams are going to sleep on this team right here, the Orlando Magic. Now, the Orlando Magic, this team has length. They're young. They have all-star potential guys. They have defense, and I like the direction that they're heading as of right now. They took the Cleveland Cavaliers in the last year's first-round playoffs at a 4 or 5 seed matchup to 7 games, and potentially could have won that series, to be honest, and played the Boston Celtics. But I think it was a little too early with them. They got experience. I liked how they brought in KCP, Octavius Caldwell-Pope, as their 2, a great 3-and-D guy who has veteran experience, who can play off the guard very well within their team. But yeah, Paolo Banchero, he's going to have another great season. He's definitely going to be an all-star within the season here. Jalen Suggs is going to make an emergence as well as Franz Wagner at the 3. This team has length. They're going to be scary, man. The Orlando Magic potentially, I can see them making the second round, potentially conference finals. But yeah, keep an eye out for them. The Orlando Magic are going to be fun as well. All right, let's go here. At number 3, I'm going to head over to Philadelphia with the 76ers. So we all knew within the offseason, big moves were made. They brought in Paul George. They were able to retain Kelly Oubre Jr. They were able to bring in Andre Drummond back, which he was on the team like 2-3 seasons ago. But he's going to be a great backup for Joel Embiid to bring a double-double and give you around at least 10 boards a game. Caleb Martin was another pickup they took from the Miami Heat. So he's going to play their 4. I expect him to be at the starting 4, spread out the floor, kick it, as well as hit those threes. So very excited within there. Tyrese Maxey should be an all-star this season. They still were able to keep Kyle Lowry. And then at the third point guard, you have Reggie Jackson, who has championship and playoff experience. So they have depth, and bringing Eric Gordon as well. So I think if this team could make another move or two, definitely need another shooting guard. I think they're right there within the top of the Eastern Conference. I think they're a tier 2 team. And speaking of the tier 1 teams, we have the final 2 teams remaining. And at number 2, I'm actually going to go with the Boston Celtics. Now, even though last season they were the number 1 seed at a 64-18 record, very far best than anyone else, still pretty much retaining their team. And then the only moves they pretty much made was bringing in Lonnie Walker and another move or two. Now I'm forgetting. They have championship experience. They won the championship. I just think other teams are going to go after the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics were lackadaisical, but they do have the length and depth. I like their team as it is, but I just don't foresee a quote-unquote urgency to repeat. I don't think they have the makeup of the team to go back-to-back. That's me, though. I think they're just going to have a great regular season. But at number 1 with the New York Knicks, I actually have this team as the hungry team who's well completed to have a successful regular season, even due to injuries, that they can take that number 1 seed. You gotta remember the last season, the New York Knicks were the number 2 seed last season. Even though they were like 10 to 14 games behind the Celtics, but I think when it comes down to the New York Knicks, bringing in Karl-Anthony Towns, who's rejuvenated, Jalen Brunson, who wants to get to his first conference finals, and bringing in Mikal Bridges, these are huge pickups within this team. I see an emergence for Miles McBride at their backup point guard to have a great season, for potential top 5 for most improved player. To be determined on Mitchell Robinson with his injuries, as well as potential trade within there. But the New York Knicks, I like their team as of right now. They're around 7 to 8 deep. Now they just need to make a couple more. They can make a couple more moves to bring in another center, and then filling out another shooting guard or so. I think they'll be right there. But right now, I do have them as number 1 in my Eastern Conference in the hierarchy. Tier 1's with the Boston Celtics. So my thoughts heading into the NBA season, let's see with more moves that are coming along. But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. It'll be a fun season.